Cut out the jibber jabber. Don't be babbling like a fool. Say what you got to say. That's all. Then shut your dang pie hole.
And we're back. Zero Dark 30, the Prepared Mind channel. One of the few channels you'll get where, folks, the light of day is nowhere to be seen. Leaves your mind in strange places indeed. Folks, that's part of why BLM, Antifa, the Infida, right, screwball, pro-Palestinian people, they come out at night because night causes different thoughts and different behavior. People are more easily controlled. They're scared, so they want to attack. Folks, we're heading for an October 7th. Giddy up. Just like Israel had. October 7th. Now, you want to know who says that? President Trump. He basically said that. He said, hey, it looks like we're heading for that. We're going to get one. It's coming. So how? Let me give you this. You're going to love this as well. It's all about thinking, folks. The mayor of New York City, His Royal Eminence, Mayor Adams, numbskull, dumb ass, holds a presser, makes a statement, and he reveals, well, exactly what you and I talked about yesterday. He reveals that some of the protesters that were arrested at college were not students. You don't say. You don't say. Some of those protesters weren't students. Well, I find that fascinating, Mayor. How about some of those protesters aren't protesters, they're terrorists. No, they won't put all of it together. So one protester in particular was photographed and noted as being the wife of a terrorist. See, that's why they wear shit over their faces. Well, if you're in, the desert somewhere and the wind is blowing, you won't get sand in your face that way as much. But otherwise, it hides your identity, who you are. It's hiding a portion of the crime. That's really what that's about when it comes to protesting and covering your face. It's not to keep the tear gas from getting in your eyes and your nose. It gets in there anyways. But that doesn't stop. It doesn't stop COVID. It doesn't stop tear gas. Covering your face is to hide your identity. Well, this ding-dong lady is the wife of a terrorist. And she's at violent, chaotic, destructive, anti-American protests. What is she doing? Right? What are all these other protesters who have been arrested in New York City, as well as other places, that are not students? And these are the worst students on the planet, by the way, folks. They have no concept of what it means to be a student. These people that are showing up, take a wild freaking guess. They're there to train. They are there to indoctrinate. They are there to recruit. Well, let's start with the training part. What are they training them to do? Well, they're training them to organize together, to count on each other. Well, that's pretty normal in, military, paramilitary, police, all kinds of units, right? It's to create camaraderie. That's it. They're solidifying that. They're learning in meetings how to have a protest and then how to turn a violent protest. How to turn a violent protest into an event that benefits them. Right? They're learning how to be terrorists and what terrorists do and how they do it. They're indoctrinating them as well. That's part of the process. Why would someone do something very dangerous and crazy you know, unless they had a strong belief in the cause, right? To avenge the martyrs or whatever the crap is that they say. It's quite amazing. It is quite amazing what's going on. They're indoctrinating them, they're training them, and they're recruiting them for more dangerous missions. Okay, understand terrorists, folks. Let's just say a particularly strong, smart, and crafty terrorist in the Middle East manages to commit all of his acts of terror and survive. Not get caught, not get shot. He's going to be very valuable to their organizations, is he not? You don't want to give someone who's a successful planner and executor of terrorist acts, you don't want to give someone like that a suicide bomb mission, because you don't typically survive those. You want them to, you would want them as a terrorist organizer, and then also in a leadership role. You don't want to send them out, so you have them train, indoctrinate, right? They become the Osama bin Ladens of the world at the top. So here in America, the terrorists that have snuck across the border, that have been flown in by Joe Biden, traitor extraordinaire, they're not going to put themselves all the way up at the front. They're going to want to recruit and train and indoctrinate further their little disciples, and that's what they'll be doing. So a lot of people got arrested that were not students. I'm sure many of them were Antifa, but I'm also sure many of them were illegals. Now, illegals being what they are, they're going to slither away from the police. The real terrorists, the people who are really terrorists that snuck into America, overflown here by Joe Biden. Take your pick. They're all Joe Biden's babies. They're going to stay out of the limelight. In fact, I'm very surprised that this terror wife got caught on camera. Maybe she's relying on the stupidity of the mainstream media. This is what we got. And this is what we can expect to get more of. Is we're going to have more of this violence. We're going to have more of these terrorists participating. We're going to have these students and other radicalized Americans. We're going to have them trained. Right now, Antifa has been taught and trained to believe certain things. But terrorists, even though Antifa, in my opinion, are a terror organization having committed acts of terror, right? They're not trained for war quite the same way. They don't have quite the same mentality. Well, I think that this infusion of jihad terrorism into American domestic terrorism is going to get out of hand and rather quick. Right? The people, according to Mayor Adams, that were not students that were in the protest, they're agitators, aka agents provocateur, Mr. Mayor. They're agitators. Now, who are the agitators? Could any of them be, I don't know, FBI? Or is that no longer needed? You see, in times past, the FBI would have to sneak into other radical groups and then really radicalize them and talk them into doing really bad things. You know, that's, boy, what a role that is, huh? Really bad things. There are a bunch of really bad eggs, these agents provocateur, whether FBI employees or FBI contractors or federal government contractors under some other organization, not the good guys, right? Not the good guys. Well, those guys, these federal agents, goons, and contractors would have to go into a group, radicalize them, train them somewhat, and then encourage them, recruit them for really dangerous and illegal missions. Well, now that you've got real live terrorists in here from other countries, already infused with a lifetime of hatred, it's not going to be hard to get them recruited for the most filthy roles and the most dangerous and deadly jobs. All they've got to do is have, well, whatever weapons are needed. Whatever weapons are needed, right? And that's it. Turn them loose. This is Joe Biden's America. This is the Democrats. This is the World Economic Forum. This is why I say your Democrat neighbors elected this, elected and asked for this, whether they admit it or not, whether they even understand it or not. They blindly believe that Democrats were going to do good things, and they have done the exact opposite. They have done the most awful things. And on top of that, the most insane Democrats will stand there and scream and yell that Trump is the bad guy. Trump is evil. Boy, you want to talk about radical, indoctrinated morons. Woo! Folks, chance favors the prepared mind. Is yours. Semper Fi. God bless America.